Hello. What I'm trying to do today is the first thing to give you a very brief short demonstration on the Excel VBA programming. So hopefully with this small short video, and then you can maybe have a basic idea of how we can set up VBA programming to start your journey of coding. And before you do anything, you need to open an Excel table as what we normally do. So you not always have a developer tab available in your normal setup. So you need to manually enable this one yourself. So so the first thing I want you to demonstrate how can we set up this developer tab in your Excel. So first you click on File, and then go to Options, and then you can click on the Customized ribbon, and then make sure you tick the Developer tab. Okay, so once you tick the Developer tab, and then click on OK, and then your Developer tab will appear in your top menu in here. So once you enable your Developer tab, you can click on the Developer tab, and then they will bring up a ribbon which for you to program in Excel. So if you click on the Visual Basic Excel, and then maybe just click on here. Oh, wait, this one. That will bring up this window. So I guess this window has been minimized, so I just zoom in. So normally you should open a window pretty straightforward to get another window. So this is a coding window for you. So if you want to code in one spreadsheet, which is spreadsheet 1, so what you can do is you can double click on this spreadsheet, so we open a blank window for you to write your codes on. And then what you need to do is that I think the best way for you to see the codes and the Excel spreadsheet is better you hold on your left buttons of your mouse, and then move the window to the side edge of your window. So when you move to that one, you can see they will automatically that convert this one into half page setup. So you open another one, so you split the screen into two, the other one. So you click on the Excel, so you put it in side by side, so much easier for you to do. So let's do the first programming. So to define a VBA programming as if you define a new function in the Excel. So all the function you write in here, say will add as if you add an additional function onto the Excel. Say for example, if I write a sub, a subroutine, and then my first coding or my first or just leave it as my first, and then a bracket, and then press enter. So your first program has been defined. So whatever you write in here, this coding, this function in here, will acting as an additional function which your user defined function add onto the Excel. So the Excel may not have this function, and then you can define your own function in here. So the first thing we can do that you may interesting to see that what I want you to do as well in this demo is how can I set a value on a certain location in any cell inside this Excel, so I can set the value directly in your program. So let me show you how to do. So to do this, to start coding, I suggest you press the tab key for one time, so it will put an indentation in your program. So all your program will line up this line, will align to this line, and then which make you very clear, very easy to see which subroutine, which that program body it is. Say for example, if I have many program like say like this one, have many coding line. So and then also if you have another one subroutine, the second in here, and then you immediately can see this is a subroutine 1 and this is body and subroutine 2, and then if you keep the same thing, like for example if you keep the same coding, like of course this is a randomly key, and so it must be a mistake there. So you can see this coding pretty easily. This is a function number 1, this is function number 2. So now we only have 1, so we delete this one because this is just for demo. So this is also randomly key in code. It's not correct. So let's do this properly. So we start from a position 1 tap away from the starting point. So we start to key in. So to locate the spreadsheet, and then what you need to do is that you need to use the command which call worksheets, and then you need to identify the sheets using the name of the sheets, and then it's case sensitive, so you put in SHEET1, which is the name, the default name of this spreadsheet, and then bracket, and then put the dot in between. When you put a dot in between, then you can code any things inside this spreadsheet, including a cell value, or the color, or maybe the style of this one you can set. But at this moment we only concern the value, the most important thing. So let's do the value first. So you can then put in a cells, and then so to call a cell, or to assign a cell. So the cell will be identified by given a row number and column number. So the row number is pretty easy because it's marked in here, so it's a row number 6, and then the column number will based on which column you are in. So if in C column, that will be 1, 2, 3, the third column. So let's say if I want to put in that location 1, 2, 6, 2, 3, and then I want this value to be say 103.25, and then that's it. So and then when you run this program, and then this code, this program line will assign the values of this cell at this location given in here, and to this value was given. Okay, so let's run this program, say, and then demonstrate to you. So to run this program, you can do one way. You can say make sure your cursor is highlighted in here, and at the same time you click on run. So when you run, you see the program automatically will assign to this value in here already. So let's delete it first. So let's delete this first, and then show you another techniques how can I run a program. So you can run a program using debug mode. So to run a program in debug mode, what you can do is that you can move your cursor to here and click in this area. So it will set a breakpoint at this position. So what the breakpoint can do, so if you set a breakpoint there, if you run the program again, and then the program will stop in here. You see the program before he run this program, stop in here, and then at that moment the cursor hasn't the value hasn't been changed yet. So if you can use the debug function, which is F8, which is step into, means you run this program step by step, and then you can make sure your cursor is in here, and then press F8. It will run this program, this line, and then after executed this line, you will find out the values of this cell has been set it to 103 and 0.25. Okay. So once you satisfy, you press F8 again, and then he will finish the program. So if you want to remove this breakpoint, you can move your cursor to here and then click on the this dot again, so the breakpoint will disappear. So this is how we set a value, and then how we set a breakpoint. So I hope that was interesting to you. And then also the dot value is the default properties of the cell. The cell can have different properties. They can have a color and can have the border shape, can have the font, and can have the style. Whatever you can set, you can set this one. So all the your manual editing to this cell, you can use a program to do it instead. So the most important part is that to key in the value, to store or to assign the value of this cell. So if you haven't typed in dot value, if you keep as the default, and then he will automatically recognize that one is you are talking about, you're going to assign this one to the values of the cell, not the other thing, not the colors of the cell, not the font colors of the cell, this so on and so forth, just the values of the cell. So if you run again, if you run this program again, and then so first we maybe need to come back here to delete this cell, and then you run this program again, and then you can see that's exactly the same as what we had before. So this is how you assign the value from there, and then you can also fetch the value, and then say for example, I want to read in what has been input, what has been stored in this cell. Say for example, if I randomly pick another cell as 9 and an E cell, so if I put key in this one, it's a 45.32. So that's the random value I put in here. I want to read in this value and then store in a variable which is AAA. How can I do that? Say for example, I put in a temp the value use the lowercase instead. A is equal to, again you can do the same thing, sheets, and then it's case sensitive, SHEET1, and then dot cell, and then now this time make sure you read this column and the row and properties. Row 9, and then it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So fifth column. So it's a 9 and the fifth column. So and then if you make sure, if you want to make sure you read in the value instead of the other properties, so you can put in the values in here. So once you run this one, and then AAA will be assigned, will store the values from the cell 9E from here. So let's set a breakpoint here, and then we can run this program. See, so if I run this program, it will stop in here. So at this moment, you can move your cursor to this AAA. You can see AAA at this moment is empty. It's nothing assigned yet. But if you press F8 the key, and then you will see that the AAA now is changed to 45.32. So that's quite. So let's stop the program and then remove this breakpoint. You can see that this is very interesting, and then also the base point for the Excel VBA programming already. So basically, if you can use a program to set the value, read the value, and then you can do a lot. This is starting point of you can add on many functions to this one already. So this is starting point. So when you can set, you can read, and then you can do a lot of data operation, manipulate these numbers, and then to add them together, to maybe do a statistic, run a statistic that for this data set, and then to feedback all the results into another spreadsheet, and so on and so forth. You can do these things. So, and then the next function I want to tell you is that is the data type. In the data, as we can see, so let me bring in this help file. So this is from Microsoft about the data type for the VBA. So in VBA we have different type of the variables, the variables, the most important one of them is the integer. Integers that is very important, because if you want to count how many members in a building, you want to iterate through all these members to calculate some values like cross-section area for each members. You do need the integer to count, to find out, to go through this member or these beams one by one. And then also the second one, very important one, is a double. It's a double value in here. So a double value will be important because all our loadings, our lengths, and then our height, all this one could be a double value instead of integer. Because integer, you never use integer to calculate the lengths or the areas of the bin. You always use a double value. So there was a lot of the other type of the variables that we used in the programming. So, and all the language, no matter you're talking about Visual Basic or you're talking about the C language or Fortran language, they are very similar. And then so as long as you can understand one, and then you should be able to do the other one. So we don't have time to go into this detail for every information in here, but I suggest you, if you're really interested in the programming, so you can pick up a book in Visual Basic, a basic simple book to read on this one. They will cover this part. So here I'll make it a short version for you to give you a quick training on how to do the programming. So we just give a demonstration on how to use the integer and how to use a double. Okay, so in programming, normally say if in a C language, and then normally we need to declare each variable before we can use it, and then so you know what type of this variables is going to be. But in VBA we don't need to do that. So the C language is more strict than the VBA. So in VBA you got more freedom, but however it will still be better to form a good habit for coding. If you use any variables, remember to declare it before you use it. Will be much more easy for you to read, to memorize all your programs later on. So for example, if I, as I mentioned before, we use the AAA already, will be good. You can use the DIM, which is a lowercase. So DIM, which is the function to declare the type of the variables, to declare variables. So at the DIM AAA as that this moment is a double, which store the data you read from this cell. So and then so after that the AAA then can be used as a double. Okay, and then so this is how we declare that variables. So this should be quite simple to use. And then before we close this section, I would like to maybe to show you that a basic function which is called iteration. So the for function. So the for function normally will start with a for, and then you possibly use the integer, which is I. Normally we use I. So when you use I is better later on. Before we finished, we should maybe declare this one as well. So I'm going to come back to declare I as an integer later on. So for I, and then as an iteration, you give a starting point. So I equal to 1 and to how many, say for example 23, say as whatever you like, and then you can give a step how many increments you want, how much increment you want between one step to another. You can put a step 1, so every time you increase by 1, and then so after that you need to close this loop by this command which called next I. So this is a pair. If you have a for function if you has a iteration, you start from here for I equal to something, you need to close it using the next I. So in between this one, any things you need to do to run this iteration will need to be right in between these two lines. So for example, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say write from the position number 2 on. So the position number 2 on, say for example, I put in, this is put in a day, and then so from here you put in day 1, day 2, day 3, day 5, and then I can write in 1, 2, 3 here. So how can I use a program to do that one? So I'm using this program to so let me do this program for you. Sorry, my phone just rang. And for example, I need to write in the coordinates, sorry, the dates of 1 to 23 from here to here. So that was 1, 2, 3, and then right in here. So the every time the row will increase by 1. So what I can do is that I can then write in here worksheet, and then from where, from in which spreadsheet is in this that sheet special one, and then cells, and then as we said before, you don't, if you find out the coordinates and then of this location, so you need to find out starting point. The starting point is you start from the changing value is row, so changing value is row, so the row must be linked with I, because I increase every time by 1, and then but you're not starting from the number 1, so the first cell you start with is I plus 1, and then the column will never change. The column number will always keep in here. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The seventh that column. So you put a 7 in there, and then we don't need the dot value as we mentioned before. It's a default. We'll set as the value. So that's number for the i's the I cell should be I. So the value stored in there should be I. So that's it. So that's pretty easy. So if you set a breakpoint in here, we can run the program, and then after that you can see the first time you run the program, the I equal to 1, and then you can press button F8. He run one more time. See, he write the number 1 in here already, and then this time I still equal to 1. And then, but if you press the F8, he will execute this line next I. So next I will be I equal to 2. So I equal to 2, and then the location will be 2 plus 1 will equal to the third row. We're going to assign the value for this one, and the value is going to be 2. So you SQ again to get a 2. So if you continue this one, then it will be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 until 23. So you get fed up, you can remove this breakpoint, and then click on this continue, and let the program finish this one. So bang, and then all these days has been input into the 7 cells of the spreadsheet sheets 1. And also you can do you can say and in this program, sorry, I forgot to mention. So the step 1 is also a default value. Say for example, if you know that all this 1, 2, 3 is increase 1 each time, so you don't need a step 1. You keep step 1. If you delete a step 1, the default setup is that from 1 to 23, the I will increase 1 each time. So they're going to be the same. So let's run this program again. So let me delete all this program by removing the step 1, and then you can run this program to give you the same result. So exactly the same. So, and then the step 1, you can also write another one. Say for example, I write another one day, but this time I want to reverse. I want to put in 23 instead, the first, and then 22, 21, and then 1 increased by 1, and then you can use this for function to implement this. So what I can do, I can write in here 4. So I will equal to the starting point will be 23. Okay, so you start from 23 and to 1, to 1, and then step minus 1. So every time it will decrease by 1, and then so to form a good habit, you can put in the next I immediately in here. So anything you write in between, he will execute 23 times in here. So we're going to that assign the value at that location from 23 that backwards. So we have a worksheet, and then sheet 1, and then cells, and this time the I, remember the I is number 2 at this moment. So what we can do is that when I equal to 23, so I should have the 23, and then minus 22. Is equal to I. I should. How can I do that? So that's the 23, and then I should have number 1 in here. So I just need to create something which is say I use 24. So I use a 24. If I use 24 minus how can I do this one? So 24 minus I first. So the first one give you so 24 minus I, which means when I equal to 23, the first one 24 minus 1 will be give you number 1 in here, right? Number 1 is not the right position, so is going to be the number second row. So you need to plus 1 in here. So actually to be honest, you should be able to put a 25 here, but if I write in this way, then it's maybe more clearer for you. So if I because the first one, the I equal to 23, so the I, these two together will create number 1, so reverse number 1. So if you let this I run in from number 23 to 1, so the last one will be 24 minus 1, so give you 23. So they actually theoretically they will locate from that row number 1 till row number 23. But as we said, we start from the second row, so you plus 1, so they give you the right position. Okay, you can figure out this one. So it's a basic algebra. And the column will never change, so we know that is 7. The 7th column, 8th column, and 9th column, so that's going to be 9, and then that's value should equal to I instead. So they will start from 23 and then come backwards until 21. So let's finish this line and then set a breakpoint in here, and then you run the program. So let's trace this program. So first one is equal to 23, and then you press F8, so 23, that's it. Next I, so equal to 2, so equal to 24 minus 22 is equal to 2, 2 plus 1 equal to 3, 3, 9, so it's this that cell we are talking about, correct. So let's run again, so you can see he start the key to assign this value in the right sequence. So you press the numbers, and then you can do all this one yourself. So if you get fed up, and then run again in one go, so you got all this one correctly listed out in the column number 9. So hopefully this is that's all I want to do in the first section. So this is give you a basic for your visual basic programming. Hopefully that sounds interesting to you. And then the second one, what we're going to do is that we're going to use VBA to create an arch that link with the class elements, and then also we use this data and then copy and paste into Autodesk Global, a finite element software, and then we are using in this program, and then create this arch, and then to view this arch as well. And then that will be a slightly challenging topic. Let's do it in the section 1. So bye bye for now.